So Dan, thanks for sitting down with me again. And now that I've graduated, as any college graduate does, they need to find a job somewhere. So what are some advice on you can give me on how to find jobs, how to find job listings, how to apply to them, and all that good stuff?
Well, that's actually a good question because there's a lot of people out right now who are looking for jobs in general. And one of the big problems is not really knowing how to get in there and find that specific dream job. Now, let's say that you have done an internship in the past and that you did an internship doing a job that you would really like to continue doing, but you know the company that did the internship might not have a position available. The highest and best thing you can do first is to call the people that you worked with at that company. Now, this is saying you had a good relationship with them. If you were terrible and they hated you, or it was an awful place, of course you're not gonna go back. But assuming that everything was good, what I would do is I would contact the people that I knew there and reach out to them, ask them if they can have coffee with you and just give you some advice about finding a job, but make it clear that this is just informational. You're not going to be pressing them for a job. And have that interview, and when you're interviewing with the person, be in listening mode. Ask the person how they got to be where they are and take note of what they said. Don't really go into too much of what your ambitions are, even if they ask you. Instead, always turn the question back to them. There's nothing that people in this industry like more than talking about themselves. And in addition to loving to talk about themselves, there's this quest for anybody who's been in it for a while to want to, in one form or another, even the biggest jerks want to remake themselves as somehow better. And so if you allow them to talk, they will kind of give you a lot of advice there. And at the end of that meeting, ask them if they can give you a recommendation for 2 or 3 other people that you can meet with for the same kind of conversation. When that's done, do a handwritten thank you note. And especially if you come from a different culture or you know a different language, get them a card in another language so that they will keep it and so that they'll be reminded of you. Following it up in a couple of weeks, send them a specific question on email about their job or what their company is doing. Stay in contact that way. And it's by being in contact with those people that you build your network, and your network will get you the job.
In regards to applying to a job that like you've never met somebody, like you see a posting online, what do you recommend putting in a cover letter, and how long should someone wait for a reply before?
Most of the time, when you send out a blind resume or you send out a blind letter, in many instances, the job's already filled. So what you're doing is you're doing more of a practice, which is fine. So what you want to do is you want to make your cover letter as terse as possible. It should be short, and it should begin with exactly why you're someone that they need to hire. What do you have that no other candidate that they're looking at has? And you'd be surprised. If you think about it a little bit, everybody has their own unique talent, and that unique talent is what will push them through. Way back when the dinosaurs were chasing me around, the thing that I always had was that I was a complete geek about film history. And I would somehow make sure that everybody I met knew that. And sure enough, the companies that I was always hired by were people who valued that. And the other important thing is to just get in the door. So even if you can't get the job that you want, get the job that's there. So if you have to go in as a mail person, if you have to go in there as an assistant, if you have to go in there as a clerk typist, if you have to go in there as a file clerk, do it. Because you're in the door. Once you're in the door, people can see that you're competent. You're giving them a chance to get to know who you are.
Right.
I would also very seriously consider going through a temporary agency. Go in there as a floater. Someone who answers the phone, someone who does the typing when somebody else is on vacation.
In regards to temp agencies, is there for like the major studios like Universal or Sony or whatever, are there specific agencies that only do that studio, or is it kind of like any temp agency would?
No, most of the studios, in fact, most of the employers have favored temp agencies. And the way you find out which temp agency they use is to call their human resources department, their HR department,
Right.
and just ask, what temp agencies do you use? And once you have that information, you can contact that temp agency. And now, this is only if you're good. You have to be good at that skill. If you contact that temp agency, you work with them for a while, you prove yourself to be a good employee, and sooner or later they'll ask you, do you have any preferred places you'd like to work? And then you can say, I'd really like to work for such and such a company. And you'd be surprised. They will actually place you in those companies. I started with an agency which unfortunately is not around anymore called Right Connections, and they were great. So temporary agencies, meeting the people that you've worked with and had experience before, those are really the ways that you're going to find yourself being in the right career path.
So Dan, thank you for taking the time to sit down with me. And so when are you going to hire me?
That's the way to do it. If I had a job for you right now, you would have gotten it.
Cool.